Okay, good morning all. Melbourne Cup Day. We have been working a little well into the night. You know, the meeting itself is typical Melbourne Cup meeting. You got big fields. It's going to be particularly hard as always. There's nothing you know that's not unusual here because it is the Melbourne Cup Day, and owners and trainers want nothing better than get their horses winning on Melbourne Cup Day. So I'm just going to go quickly because I'm fairly busy today. I'm going to go over the sheet and what are my thoughts on the entire program and how we should be playing the entire program. Okay, race one is a pass. Now, what I'm doing with these races, you'll see that I'm saying automatic pass. I'm not actually passing. I know there are guys and members out there that still like to bet, and I'll always leave the prices up there for anyone that does want to bet. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to go over with races that have unknown runners. In the past, I bet on them. Okay, the reason why I bet on them because you got to be good to come out and win as an unknown runner. And a lot of times, what I do, I work in reverse. If there is 3 or 4 unknown runners, and a couple of them have opened up short, all right, like $2.50, $3, $4, I take them on. I always back the runners that I've got that are rated runners. Okay. What I don't like to see when there's unknown runners is when I see 3 or 4 unknown runners that are big prices. That's when I actually don't bet because they're the ones that actually win. The analysis I've done is the ones that come out at short prices, they really win. It's the ones that come out at big prices are the winners. So I monitor the markets and I see what's doing. 9 times out of 10 we should be passing, but there are times as I said, I've made a lot of money on betting on horses with a lot of unknown runners because I just back the rated runners because I say it all the time, you have to be really good to come out, especially when you've got horses that are really well rated. They've got unbelievable figures, okay, and the ones that are unknown, they've got to come out and beat these horses that are very race run and they've got great figures. But for this particular race, I think we should be passing. We've got number 1 as the top pick. I don't think we're going to be getting prices. It's already $2. I've got it rated at $3.30, so we can probably not bet here. Race 2. This is again going to be one of those races where it's going to come down to price. And if we were looking at the markets 5 minutes, let's say this was 5 minutes out. At the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to be betting. I've got the 2 rated at $3.70, the 3 rated at $5.15, the 4 rated at $7.90. So at the moment, let's just say this: if this race was run in 5 minutes, it's probably a pass race. What we want to see is this runner and that runner, okay, and obviously these 2 runners. We want to see these 2 runners well over priced. Like when I say well over priced, I don't want to see $3.70. All right, these guys have got it at $2.60, $2.70. That's just a ridiculous price, and I want to see this thing $4.50 around that price. And same, this has got to be in the sixes. I don't like backing horses just on price at 60%. I don't like it. You're just turning over money. All right. So at the moment, if this was 5 minutes out, it's an automatic pass. But it's not 5 minutes out. We're just going to wait. All right. So at this stage, it's looking like a pass race, but we don't know what's going to happen. Okay. So we go to race 3. This could be an okay race. What we got over here? We got the 2. Who have we dropped? We've dropped the 3. The 3 is my concern. All right, and the 1. So we've got to beat 2 horses. I think we're covered with the 1 on the ratings. All right. I mean, it does rate, but it's just a terrible price. And the 3 is my only concern off the figures. So at this stage, this seems like a decent betting race. We just got to make sure that. I'll watch the markets. I'll see what's going on with the whole race. Again, if it looks like that the 2 runners that I've dropped are in the market and there's a huge support for them, Melbourne Cup, I pay particularly attention to the money trail. It's very, very, very important on days like this. So I'm going to be navigating my head off. All right. So just watch and listen. Watch out. I think today I'm going to go really late, probably about a minute and a half out, maybe even a minute out. All right. So be prepared for Texas to come. The alerts to come pretty late. All right. I want to get as much as we can late. Okay, because it's the later I go, the better it is going to be for everybody. But at this stage, this race looks like definitely a play race, pending what I'm seeing in the markets. And at the moment, everything's looking good. Like I said, we just got to beat the 1 and the 3. They're the two that I am only concerned about. We go to race 4. Okay, we've dropped the 1 and the 2. This is one of those races, it's just a lottery. It's a distance race, but we've got a decent pot here. Again, we've basically got to beat 3 runners: the 1, the 2, and the 7. But you see, when I see a pot like that, 120%, all right, I go, all right, well, we need to see obviously big prices on our runners. We need to see a bit more for the 8. When the markets open. When they come down to their percentages come down and we're closer to like we can go down. If this thing here is the moment, I wanted 460, it's 380. I would accept $4 for this. This is the horse to beat on the ratings. This is the runner to beat. All right. Now I wanted 460. We can drop this a little bit. We could probably go to about 370, 380. Again, I've got to see what these two are doing. These two are the big factors for me, but we've got them covered on the ratings. So again, you guys are not seeing what I see when I do the ratings, and I think these two, obviously they can win, but for me they're just poor prices. I would need $10 for number 1, and I'd need about $10 for number 2. So I don't put them down on the sheet. And if they beat me, they beat me. So be it. But it's just one of those, it's one of those races. It's a great pot. It's a betting race. Race 5. I dropped the 2. This runner is, it's definitely going to be a horse that's going to be hard to beat. I will have a look at the race. Despite that pot being high, I am very, very concerned about the 2. You see, members, how it's race by race. You're looking at what are my thoughts race by race, because again, you don't have the luxury of seeing what I'm seeing. And the 2 definitely rated. Now I'm in the mode of big pot. Or shall I be betting? Well, maybe not, because if I see that there's just an avalanche of money for this 2, yeah, of course it could be beaten. But I rated it at 290, and then the markets were pretty much aligned with me here. So we have to be careful. Obviously the horse to beat is the 3. It's the 2. We've got the 3. All our other runners. There's another runner here that I am a little bit concerned about, and that was, I think it was number 1. Okay, I was a little bit concerned about, but I need $20 for it. Just because this thing's $12, $13, it's still not a good price for me. $20 is a good price for me. So I am a little bit concerned about it. But at the moment, we're going to run with what we've got. And the horse that we just have to beat is number 2. If I see sickness on this 2, then it's a bet. If I don't see sickness, this race could be a possible pass. Because I'm not that keen on taking on this 2. All right? So we just have to sit and wait for this one, despite a big pot. See how I go differently race by race? That's what you got to do. You cannot be stuck on the same mode every race. All right, so far we're 5 races down. We've only really got 2 decent betting races. So that's all we've been, this at the moment to me is a 50-50 call. All right. Race 6. This is going to be a hard race. As you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 picks. All right. Now, for me, the 2's the horse to beat. All right. I don't like its price there. I've got it rated at 530. All right. I would accept probably if we start dipping down to this price, then that pot's gone. I would accept anything from about 450 above. All right, 460, 450 is probably the least I would take for it. If this thing dips below 450, then we're probably looking at dropping it. Okay, that's where my thought. But even though I think it's the horse to beat, that's well underpriced at the moment. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's a $4.40 chance. I think it's probably its right price is around 530, 550. All right, but because we've got a pot that we can play with, and plus we've got some nice runners in there. This thing here is $10. It's rated at 14-1. So the 10 We've got it rated at 17 to 1. It was $21. So if this race was run right now, okay, we'd probably be taking this field here. All right, because we've got a lot of nice horses that are well overpriced on our selection. Like we've got this thing rated at $7.50. It's $10. So this is a good betting race. We just need to watch number 2. Again, you can see the pattern. We've got to watch the runners that I have on top. We've got to see what their prices are. We don't want to be dipping below. We don't want to see this thing dipping below 440, 450. No chance. Then it gets removed. And then we obviously got to take on, obviously that runner there in the 11. The 11 did bother me. All right, so we've got to be careful with it. And there was the 6 as well that bothered me. It's Pike's runner. All right, so in this particular race here right now, we have to beat the 6 and the 11. And both did sort of rate. And this Jamie Carr is on fire at the moment. I've got her rated through the roof for the jockey combo strike rates and all that. So, when jockeys are hot, trainers like to put them on because they go for obviously winning streaks. So we just need to be careful. Okay, now the Melbourne Cup. All right, there's 2 things going on here with the Melbourne Cup. Obviously, the fact is this. It's the Melbourne Cup, guys. All right, everyone that wants to have an opinion and all that about who, why, when, I try to stay away from that. All right, I did do a lot of work on this race. I probably spent about an hour and a half, close to 2 hours on the race. The reason why I spent that much time on the race, I am concerned about a few runners. I'm concerned about the 1. Okay, because I've only got 1 rated. This number 1 to me is an unrated, is pretty much an unknown to me. Its last run was decent, all right, but it wasn't decent enough to have it. But that doesn't mean anything, all right. It means to me that it's just its first Australian run, and it did what it did in that Cox Plate, and I am concerned about it. So that's why I did a lot of work on it, and I've done a lot of work on this number 21. Now, it's got super times in, it's a baby still, all right? The only thing that concerns me about the 21 is the fact that it hasn't started in Australia, which would be everyone's concern, all right? But I did do a lot of work on its times overseas. Now, it's hard for me to do work on times overseas because of the tracks. The tracks are completely different to our tracks over here, all right? This track today is going to be on fire. All right, I can tell you that now. This track's going to be as fast as... Put it this way, if we were scaling it from 0 to 10, all right, and 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, I'd make this track today an 8.5, which is as fast as it can be. Obviously, it's the Melbourne Cup day, and they're always going to prepare the tracks like that. Unless there's no rain coming, unless there hasn't been any rain in the last 24 hours or 48 hours, then this track's going to be playing fast. I don't know if this horse is going to be able to come out, and that's anyone's guess. But off its European form, all right, it ticks all the right boxes. It ticks everything that you want it to tick. It's lightly rated, weighted, which I don't talk in weights that often, but in the Melbourne Cup you have to. All right, it's carrying 52 kilos. I don't have any data on it. I can't have any data on it, but it is a concern. And then obviously we've got the 9. All right, I've got no form on the 9 whatsoever. Now, again, I've done some work on it. It's a typical European stayer. All right, so it's one of those horses where, it could come out and do things because, I don't have any data. I would dare say this thing is going to run a race. Okay, it's going to run a race. It's got nice form in the UK, so we just need to be careful. Now, the local champ, well, this thing's not a local, all right. If I was looking at raw data and if I was looking at the numbers, this thing is pretty much unbeatable. But, okay, it's all about whether or not this thing can run the distance, all right. Now, the numbers are saying tick, 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 okay. It's going to be very hard for this thing to come out and, Cox Plate to a Melbourne Cup. It's happened so many times and so many horses have failed. But I run with the numbers. Again, I'm not trying to confuse everybody. I just all I see is numbers. All right, and everything else that I say will just be an opinion. All right, what I run with is my numbers, and the numbers are telling me that this horse is the horse to beat, number 5. The query is, and this is where my opinion comes in, is this thing going to be able to run the trip? I don't know. Okay. That's the obviously the $1 million question. I just run with whatever I see. All right. If this thing can run to the trip, I can tell you now it's going to be hard to beat, exceptionally hard to beat, because I've got this thing running at 16s. Now, to put it wherever I can understand what that means, all right, most of these other horses are running at 17s and 18s, all right, and some of them are running in their 20s. So this thing, apparently according to the data, it's got 4 or 5 lengths on them. If it runs to the distance and runs to its figure, and you'll often see me write that on my notes when I see a favourite. I'll say this thing's got 6 lengths. Well, this is the horse that's got 6 lengths on him. All right, but I'll always say if it runs to figure. So that means if it runs to its distance or whatever, all that sort of stuff. All right, number 7, I give it a big hope, a really, really big chance. This thing's running in the mid 17s. That's decent for a Melbourne Cup. Put it this way, I did my last Melbourne Cup winner is I haven't had a bet since Prince of Penzance. That was my last Melbourne Cup winner, because that's when all the locals were still there. The reason why I haven't bet in the last 3 or 4 Melbourne Cups because I don't have information on all the imports. So unfortunately, I've just had to sit it out. But this race here, there's only 2 runners I don't have data on, which is why I'm betting in the race. Okay, Prince of Penzance when it won, this thing had the same figure as it. Okay, so if we were doing a comparison, right now, Very Elegant and Prince of Penzance they're 2 different horses, but they're the sort of numbers that I was looking at when I did the race and that was my last winner there. So this is for me is a big hope off its numbers. Number 12 as well. This thing here is a big chance. Okay, again, Jamie Carr's on this runner. This thing was running in mid 17s as well, so it's got a big chance of winning. It's ready. It's had the right prep. I think this horse is going to be one of the top chances. There's a surprise in here. Is this Russian Camelot? Forget about its run in the Cox Plate. I think this thing is ready and primed to run a big race in the Cup. All right, the numbers are telling me so, and that's why it's on the sheet. All right, and then you got the 18. The 18, I think, can also. It was a big win on the weekend. I said it beat us on the weekend. I didn't have any figures on it. I had it as a sub runner. All right, because one of its runs that I did have on it. All right, was huge. So there's also another horse here that I don't mind as well as this number 23, this Miami Bound, and also number 24. I've got it down here as well. This per San. But I haven't got Miami Bound down on the sheet. I wanted like 50 to 1 for this thing. I don't think we're going to get 50 to 1. And that's the thing with the Melbourne Cup. 10 years ago, these horses were 70, 80 to 1. These are just poor prices. Like this horse here should be 60 to 1. They've backed it, but still at the moment, I think it's a poor price. So, I've got it rated at 20 to 1, but sometimes forget about that. All right. It's just for me, it's more about the what I would put on it, and I think putting 0.25 on it at that price is fine. So again, with the Cup, it's the Melbourne Cup, guys. Where everyone's an expert on the Melbourne Cup and why horses should win. I try to. I'm different. I got a different approach to everybody else. I ignore the noise. I ignore all the talk around the Melbourne Cup, and I just follow my numbers. That's all I do. Okay, I'm not trying to talk everybody into why, how come. My numbers are telling me these are the horses that can win the race. Again, the query is obviously the 21 and the 9, no information on them. All right, so that's with the Cup. What I like to do is I like to take 2 or 3 runners, and then I like to box, do a trifecta. It's the only race that I do trifectas and first fours. That's it. Okay. We move on to race 8. I don't mind this race. This is a good betting race. We've got the 1, we've got the 9, the 10. Now we've got 5 picks, but that's a 95% pot race. Now the trick is this number 1. All right, this horse is the horse to beat, but at the moment it's a poor price. We just need a little bit more for this runner. All right, so The one that does bother me is this number 15, but I couldn't take that on its price. There's just no chance. But it is a major concern. I can tell you that now. All right. And number 8. These are the two that we have to beat. We've got to beat the 8 and the 13. All right. I think if we got these, I think we've got them covered on the numbers. All right. If this thing was like $5, I'd be looking at it. But that 310 is a poor price. Not saying that it can't win. All right. It is a major threat. But on that price, just no. And even that 8. The 8, we need $7-8 for it. You know, so I don't, if this thing hits $8-9, I might even include it. But at the moment, no chance. All right. So as you can see, we just got to beat 2 runners here. And we've covered, you know, we've got a nice spread of runners here. We've got a horse that's well in the market. And then we've got these other 4 runners that I think are definitely worth taking on price. All right. So we go to race 9. What we got over here? We've got the... Yeah, I found this race to be pretty hard, actually. There's a lot of chances here. Okay, the 15's a concern. Again, I need better price. This thing definitely does bother me, but it's a sub-runner. This thing might go out the price. The 3 is obviously one of the picks that I like. It's one of the top picks. We're aligned with this thing here. This number 2 bothers me. All right. You know, but we got who we got here, and the 3 bothers me. No, the 4, sorry. Okay, they're the ones that concern me. The 1, the 4, and the 15. All right, but that pot's decent enough to take them on, but we don't want to be taking low prices on the 3. All right. So again, it's one of those races where I need to watch what the markets are doing. I need to see the activities around the 4, the 2, and the 15. This is my biggest concern. This runner here is the biggest concern. We just have to make sure that we beat this. All right, and then I think we've got the race covered on all the other runners. All right, so it's at the moment it's definitely a bet race. Then we go to the last, which is always the hardest. I don't know why, but it always is. This is going to be definitely a betting race unless I see something completely different that's going on in the markets. All right, so we got the 2, we got the 6, we got the 7. You know, the 15 is my biggest concern. What I might do with this race, if this thing hits about 650, a bit higher, I might include it in just as and have 5 picks. I don't know. That pot's decent enough for me to do that. All right. So again, you can see that I just wait race by race. I don't try to. You know, you can't sit around and work out, this is the day I'm going to put the bets on. You can't do that. Those people lose. You got to wait race by race. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. All right, and you saw what happened on Saturday, how we went race by race. You know, you can't plan out the day. You can't sit there and say, these are my bets. If you want to do that, fine. All right? You won't win in 2020 doing it. You won't win in 2021, and you won't win in 2022 doing that. This is the only way to bet in racing currently now. Race by race, you got to have a different thought process for each race. All right? Hopefully, guys, we have a great Melbourne Cup. And, it's Melbourne Cup. Everybody enjoy yourselves. All right? Thanks, guys.